If you're watching this video, you're doing it for one of three reasons. One, you like hearing real estate horror stories, like hearing me talk about them, like learning that way. Two, you like hearing me say really dumb, stupid stuff. Or three, you're just falling upon this channel, you happen to see real estate horror stories, you're pondering buying a house, and you're like, well, maybe this would be a good place to start. So if it's any of those three reasons, welcome here. The goal of this channel is to just basically look at real estate situations that were really negative for other people and to try to give advice or me just talk about it in general. Hopefully it broadens your ideas of the hardships that you can have with buying a house. Because buying and selling a house is like super duper hard. The structure of this is mostly so that you can listen to it while you're driving. You don't necessarily need to see the screen, but if you want to, I'll always be posting the stories right here. But other than that, let's just get right on into it. My name's Paden out Clancy Fairbanks, and let's talk about it. This was a specific story that I put notes on to read first. So, posted on Reddit, deleted. It's a real estate agent talking about their experiences. My worst experience with realtors would probably have to be being one. Yeah, that's totally true. If you guys think you hate them, imagine if that was all you had to deal with every day. Another pompous, self-important, bloated a-hole running his or her mouth and putting on a show about how awesome they are. This is super true. I see it all the time where I've lost listings because somebody comes in and either says that they'll get them more for their home and then they don't, or they say they've got more experience and then you look at their stats and they've only sold like 2 houses in the last year. Let's keep going though. Only to find out they've never done a sale and now your client is getting the runaround and you look foolish because the hack on the other side of the table can't tell his elbow from his a-hole. Also true. I hate the industry as a whole and cannot wait to see real change, which is interesting enough. We saw those lawsuits going through with people not wanting to pay buyer's agents or the fees behind it and price fixing. So, maybe there's some change coming. Don't ever forget, everyone at the table is working for you. 100% true. Lender, title company, home inspector, if you're on the buyer's side, real estate agent, they're doing a job for you. And if you don't feel like they're doing a good job or they're not communicating, you need to be asking more questions. Rates are always negotiable and don't ever settle for something you don't want. Remember that unless you're given earnest money deposit, you can probably walk away. Don't ever acquiesce to something you don't want. There's some discussion that could be had here about the fact of like, there's good real estate agents that if they're listing your home charge 6%. There's bad real estate agents that charge 6%. And so I would agree with this that if you feel like you're not getting the services that you should be, maybe you should be negotiating commission more. Or maybe you should be asking them whatever they're charging, why they're charging that. I think there's a very valid point there. People in general should understand the money that they're spending in real estate more. Also, I hate having to always be on. Always the salesman and can't just be someone's friend for the hell of it. This is a really hard one. Because one of the best lead generation things, especially when you're first starting out, is just talking to people, taking them to lunch, stopping by their house and saying, hey, and just reminding people that you're a real estate agent. As you get a little bit older and you start being able to differentiate the fact that real estate is my job and these are my friends and lead generation is part of my job. Lead generation or stopping by people's homes that you've sold their house before, there's always that more professional. You're very comfortable with me. We're really good friends. We had a really good time with helping you buy or sell your house. But also, I'm your real estate agent. But also at the same time, you got to enjoy stopping by people's houses and talking to people as an agent if you're choosing to go down that lead generation route. I think one of the harder things about real estate is that it's a lot like an MLM, where real estate agents get upset because you didn't use them, you used your sister or something like that. Or real estate agents just get mad at you because, I don't know, whatever reason. And I think that a big key distinction is that you have to separate your friendship and being a real estate agent. It's okay to market to your friends, but be comfortable if they choose using somebody else. If you're a good real estate agent, they're going to use somebody else and come and ask you a bunch of questions, and just accept that that's the way that it is. The way that I get around it is just the fact I try to give everybody the best advice as possible, even if they're asking me because they used a different agent. I try to be a good person with the goal being to help them buy or sell a house for the best price or the best situation for them. That's always my goal. Now, I've hit a point where I can't necessarily just stop doing stuff to help people if I'm not getting paid for it. It's just like the simple truth of it. I'm not going to answer a friend's phone if they're asking me about real estate when I'm hanging out with my wife watching a movie, or at dinner. If you're paying me for it, I'm definitely going to be putting more energy into making sure that I talk to you or answer your phone and stuff like that. But if I'm not, there's other people that are paying me and making it so I can support my life, and they're going to take priority over you. I guess that's all I'm saying. But there you go. Pretty good first story. Now we're going to go on to client number 1. This was posted on Our Real Estate by Calm Percentage 8248. And it was about 7 hours ago, so that would have been like 2 days and 7 hours ago. A real estate agent told me that they have multiple offers, even though the house is overpriced by $70K. Be careful of what clients say. They typically don't understand the value of a home, or there's a lot of variables, age of home, more specifically how updated or unupdated a home is. You could have a home that's the exact same age and square footage, but the entire inside has been updated, making it worth more money than a home that hasn't been updated at all. Seems like a simple premise, but I think that people especially simplify the value of a property. Doesn't matter. But told me to put my lower offer in anyways. Are they lying about the other offers? When I asked them about the quality of those offers, such as pre-approvals or money down, they didn't really know or didn't want to get into it. I also think that they want to use this higher price to start negotiating down to the market price. Also a tactic people use for sure. But if they had other offers, wouldn't they tell me at least match those higher offers? That's why I don't think the agent is being honest. And it's not the first time an agent would think of doing something like this. What are your thoughts? We don't have enough information in general to understand the whole of the situation. My first question would be is, do you have a real estate agent? Are you using them? And what is their advice? Because they've felt out the other agent. They can give you a better idea. The other agent might even have a reputation. It would be interesting looking at the other agent. His thought process is 100% viable. There's a lot of agents that are lazy, don't want to disclose that information. They're trying to just get the home sold as quickly as possible, and they don't want to waste time on that. Lazy, absolutely. Bad agent stuff, absolutely. Super common, 100%. So you really need another agent feeling them out, or just somebody in general that you trust that can feel them out from a negotiating standpoint. I think it's always worth putting in an offer regardless of where it's at, just because even if it's a 1% chance, like, you're not really risking anything. Agents would say they don't want to make their reputation look bad, they don't want to waste the time, but the agent really is working for you. And if you haven't been incredibly hard to work with up to this point, it's always worth putting in the 10 or 15 minutes of work that it'll take to submit an offer, especially if you've done it 2 or 3 times. The first offer takes 2 hours because you got to explain the whole contract, but everyone past that is a 10 or 15 minute process. And it could be a great learning experience to submit an offer super low, have them reject it, but then you go through the whole process. So submit the offer regardless. Maybe find somebody that you trust that's been a skilled negotiator to go and talk to them about it so they can kind of feel them out. But your thought process is sound, but there's so much nuance that we're missing that it would just be impossible to guess what's happening. But, all right, let's go to Agent 2. Okay, I got this off of a website. I'll post the website down in the description below. But I had a client that was adamant about submitting an offer 40% below asking price to see what happens. And when the seller denied the offer without a counter, the client suggested that it was likely because I didn't drive a Mercedes or BMW to set the right tone and presenting the offer in an LA HQTV-esque way. Karen Abram, founder, CEO-CMA. I don't know what all that other stuff is. This scenario, it's not as common as people think. Most people really like real estate agents that are driving a truck or a normal car and that are just really skilled at their job. I think absolutely if you're driving a Mercedes, it's one lead generation avenue. I don't think it's the best one, but some people it works really well for them. Submitting an offer that's 40% below and then getting upset that they didn't even respond, a little unrealistic. I think it's totally fair to submit whatever offer that you want, but especially once you start getting in that realm, you've really just got to be content with people not responding. And your expectation needs to be that you need to submit probably 10 to 15 offers at 40% of value to get one possible hit, and probably need to do it 30 to 50 times to actually find a really good deal. So genuinely, that's one of the biggest miscalculations that people think, is that if a home's been on the market for 40 days, I submit a 40% offer, they should sell it to me, right? Doesn't work that way, never will work that way. If you're trying to look for a deal, it's quantity over quality that you're looking for. You want to submit 50 offers in this range because you're looking for the one specific person, but you just don't know who they're going to be. So that's last thing I'll say about the HQ Ask view of real estate is that so many people have a misconstrued view of real estate in general just because of real estate agents posting stupid stuff like marry the house and date the rate, or people posting that real estate investing is one of the easiest, most passive incomes. Like, everybody's view of real estate is so skewed because of all the stupid stuff that's posted and the glorified ways that people post it. But that was that note. We're going on to client number 2. It was by Mitch Aid about 4 years ago. I had a bad, not horrible, experience with my first realtor. In the end, he wanted to make the sale as fast as possible, then move on. Super standard real estate agency. More homes that you sell, the more money you make. Simple fact. Had some regrets, but I didn't feel like I got the service I paid for. Also really standard. A lot of real estate agents charge that, make 2.5 or 3%, but they're wanting to move as quickly as possible, so they're not providing the level of service that they really should. Real estate agents should be experts on helping you solve problems with buying a house. And so if you have an agent, them asking questions is 100% fine, but if they're like, oh, I'm not sure what you should do, and then they don't go and find an answer, there's a problem there. My second home purchase, I found a much better realtor. One question I asked him, not realizing how valuable his answer would be until after I finished the purchase, was, how did you do when the bubble burst in 2008? That is a great question. His answer was, I had enough established clients that I didn't need to scramble. Basically, he was so well liked by his former clients that they went out of their way to use him again. 100% absolutely true. Those who survived through the 2008 recession were some of the strongest agents out there. We're actually, right now at this moment in time, we've seen like 40% decrease in the amount of listings sold or demand, and so you're seeing a lot of real estate agents failing right now. So when you're using an agent right now, ask them, how many homes have you sold? If they've only sold 1 or 2, answer the question why that is. If they're still selling 10 to 15 or more right now, it's at least the signal that people like using them, or that they're really good at lead generation. And maybe the lead generation's not good, but at least it's a good signal that they're functional real estate agents in any industry. And more questions you should ask, for sure. In retrospect, this was a huge sign that he was awesome, which he really was. And I have recommended him to multiple friends and family. 5 years since I last used him, he is still available for me for contractor tradesman recommendations. Also a huge thing that real estate agents should be able to do for you, because they do so much real estate, they do so much work around it, you should assume that they're going to know some of the best contractors in the world. And I've recommended him multiple friends and family. I could go on about what he did during the sale that made him awesome, but I think you get the point. Good luck finding the right one. I hope this helps you. Super valid, super important. A good real estate agent will make your transaction so much better. A bad real estate agent is going to make your life really hard. A mediocre real estate agent is going to cost you a bunch of money and not provide the services that they should. Two big variables to ponder when you're using a real estate agent. Are they really skilled at their job? Do they know what the average days on market are? Do they know what home values have done over the last year? Do they have the experience necessary to help you buy a house? 2, do they communicate really effectively with you? A real estate agent never answering their phone, or at least communicating effectively with you, is a huge problem. Doesn't matter how skilled they are at their job, if they don't talk to you, you're going to have a bad time. Doesn't matter how much they talk to you, if they're not skilled at their job, you're going to have a bad time. So that's always my general advice on both of those. I really like that story. I thought that one was a good one. It makes you ponder a lot of things for sure. All right, we got our last story here. This is another real estate agent one. Last year, I was very excited to get a listing where I felt the seller was very collaborative. They seemed very positive up front and willing to run with ideas that I suggested. All that deteriorated quite quickly, and I came to find out that my client was a wolf in sheep's clothing. This is a hard one. It's always good to realize this is the largest transaction like 70 to 80% of people are going to have. So they're going to be really nervous about a bunch of stuff. Now, naturally, there are really hard sellers for sure. Not disagreeing with that at all. But it's just always good to acknowledge it's a really hard time for a lot of people. At first, they presented themselves as a certain way, and once we signed on the dotted line and we got into the process, they did a complete 180, personality-wise. They did not want to take my suggestions. They were hypercritical and, generally speaking, just horrible, negative energy. Nothing I could do to please them. When a client flips on you and they start blaming you for stuff, it makes the transaction really hard really quickly. It's definitely something I've learned. Even if you didn't do something wrong, even if you didn't do anything wrong at all, sometimes it's just a really stressful situation, didn't work out the way everybody wanted. Nothing I could do could please them. Any negative feedback about the property or the price was my fault and had nothing to do with the challenges that inherently existed with selling their home at their price point. They micromanaged everything from the marketing to the showings to the music that I played. The music that I played is a huge indicator that if they're caring about that, that's a lot. That's just micromanaging. Finally, I had enough and decided to fire them. This process went on for several months because, as most of us do, I wanted to save the listing, make the sale, didn't want to disappoint. I really do get that. It'd be interesting to dive deeper down into this and seeing the anxieties that the sellers had, because some people, it's just really hard selling a home, and it really makes you anxious, especially if an agent doesn't make you comfortable. I don't have enough information to say the agent wasn't good or to say the clients were bad, but just in general, selling a home is really hard. And if you don't have somebody that's in your corner that makes it easier, it just is a stressful moment in time. But that's it. That's all I have to say about that one. That's all I got for you guys today. If you got real estate stories, send them to my email right here. Otherwise, thanks for watching. I hope you have a great day, and bye-bye now.